Namaste. I thought I'd talk a little bit today just about the energy of the solar energy. So, our own solar plexus energy, the divine masculine, and also the idea, the concept, the experience of discernment and what this means in terms of our journey with our own inner power, with connecting to and working with other people's power and the power structures in the world. So it's interesting, in sessions I've been having quite a lot of the divine masculine deities come through, and you might hear stuff in the throat too. So there's been a real clearing here, working with people to just clearing, some of the old stories, old experiences, and definitely relationship to power. So working with the divinity today, Manjushri, who is a Buddhist divinity of wisdom, and he actually comes with a sword of truth, which he uses to cut through any illusion, which is really a helpful thing sometimes because the mind can argue either or both ways. Devil's advocate, some people say. So Manjushri and his sword can really help you, especially if you're in a process at the moment of working with energy, with your energetic boundaries, and maybe you're considering that you would like to make your energetic boundaries stronger so that you're not swept under by other people's stuff. And of course, what can happen when you are new to boundary setting is you might worry that you're going a bit too far, because if you've been very porous and open, the idea of actually saying no to someone or experiencing an inner thing where you almost feel like a cat, that you meet someone or someone says something to you, maybe someone you've known for a while, but someone says something and you feel that like the hackles rise. And not that you want to attack them, but just an inner knowing of, okay, that's a little bit hinky and I didn't like that. When you're in boundary setting mode and you're new, you might think, just smooth that over, that's fine, and ignore it. So the energy of discernment is not to use these little fine-haired little antennas that come to you, these knowings, not to use them as a weapon to bludgeon anybody, either a person or a body or a collective. It's not about that, but it's holding that little awareness, like a little mini aha moment where you say to yourself, okay, I noticed and recognized that energy was not in alignment with what I would like or what I resonate with. And so I will just hold that awareness like at the back of my mind and not have to get swept under. This is very helpful to discernment when it's about shiny things that look and sound really shiny and persuasive and maybe a bit beautiful and a bit exciting, but something says to you, a gut reaction or a little hindbrain thing, something says, that feels a bit sticky and not that good. So it's just about giving yourself permission to listen to that little inner voice because it is there, and to not feel guilty if you pull back a little bit more than maybe is your first reaction. That's totally fine. So discernment is not about a judgment on someone else or another group, but it is something to help you to navigate your way. So I've got a bit of citrine here too. And I had this sort of feeling, I was talking about it's the energy as we're all on this journey at the moment with really sort of understanding power, our relationship to power, what is right use of power, what is it all about? So it's a little bit like we're on this trajectory as though we're in a speedboat and we really are traveling through these waves of power and what it means. And it can feel a bit to your solar plexus like you're getting shocks of like experiences where you feel your power has been challenged perhaps, or you're not feeling very powerful, or what you're seeing out there and reading just seems like a whole heap of trash and you're just sick of it and you feel a bit like you would collapse in on yourself because it just seems a hopeless mess. So it's a bit like the universe is asking us to be on this journey of questioning what is power in the world, how do we relate to others, how is our own power situated. If you've been feeling stuff in the solar plexus or having digestive issues, it really is part of this journey we're collectively on to heal and to integrate higher wisdom into the energy of power. So you can see yourself as a bit like being on a speedboat going across the waves, and there's the little bumps every so often, but we call on Manjushri. And I'm just also asking with the selenite sword and the Super 7. And the idea of Manjushri's sword of cutting through illusion. Archangel Michael is also a being who has a sword to cut through illusion, and his is actually the sword of truth too. So you could just imagine that the energy of the sword can clear. So it's clearing your journey. So any speed bumps you're experiencing in relation to power, that the sword the journey keeps going. You don't need to actually stop, get off the boat, put a towel around your shoulders and go, that's it, over and out, I'm done. Stay on the boat, get a little bit wet, feel the solar plexus, allow the bumps to be there, but just be aware if you can just follow the breath, you can drop into the solar plexus. You don't need to remember his name, Manjushri. You don't need to remember, but you could put a hand, even the right hand, on the solar plexus and breathe and intend and visualize golden energy streaming from your palm into that space. And then you could imagine just this sword of light weaving around you and just cutting. If you've got a very creative imagination, you might see it like a chef with a big knife, or, it could be anything, but cutting around you, and just the intention to breathe in and out through the power center. And with the other part of your left hand, maybe you can, even if you don't have a sword, you can use it as just a cutting. It's like an intention just to remind yourself that you're asking for clarity and you're willing to see past the illusion. And even if that illusion is something very close and precious to your heart, something you've told yourself about yourself for a very long time, be willing at the moment to really keep the eyes open, to look beyond illusions. And as I've said before in these videos, and as we're all experiencing, look beyond the old paradigms and the old layers, labels, identities that we've put on ourselves. We're very much in this new space. It feels a bit like a speedboat. But if you can keep going with it and trust that we're going somewhere, we're moving through this journey, you'll come out the other side feeling more strengthened. Just give yourself the benefit of discernment. Trust in it. Trust that if you feel you're leaning a bit heavily one way more than the other, of saying no, a little bit more, that's okay. We come back to balance. But don't give up on your journey of discernment and right use of power. Take care of your solar plexus. We're in winter here in the Southern Hemisphere, so the idea of the sun, is something that we really want to bring through and bring forth. Again, I'll just put a little bit of the citrine. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, just honoring the energy of the sun coming upon you, trusting in the divine masculine and the solar energies, and just allow the citrine to almost pour energy right through you. So just a little musing there on discernment. Such an important thing to work with, and it can be a journey, but trust your own process and know that we're all being asked to do that, and it will be very beneficial. So trust, allow, and be gentle.